Hi there, it's Elizabeth Peck, your spiritual guide here in Empaths Healing Through the Higher Self. I am so happy to be talking to you today about something that I think so many people, not just empaths, but people in general, deal with day in and day out. And the topic for today is anger, feeling anger. One of our members posted in the group recently asking about anger issues and if anyone was experiencing them. And many of you commented. And I think it's a very, very important subject because emotions are natural. And as spiritual beings having a human existence and a human experience, our emotions are meant to be felt. We have them, the full range of emotions, in order to guide us and to help us. And as empaths, you're highly sensitive. So feeling emotions is very important, and understanding what your emotions are versus the emotions of others is also very important. And as you're on your journey and you're managing your empathic abilities and you are taking care and getting to know your own energy, you are becoming increasingly aware of your own emotions, which is exactly what they're there for. They are a guidance system that we have. And so anger is something that can get a bad rap, but in and of itself is not a bad thing. Anger, it's about the way that we express anger and the way that we deal with it. That is what we need to look at, because the emotion of anger is there to wake us up. It's there to let us know that something is out of balance. Something is out of alignment and we need to pay attention. That's why it doesn't feel good, right? Anger doesn't feel good. And it is getting your attention and letting you know that something is out of balance. And it's very important when anger comes up to allow yourself to feel it and to understand why it's coming up, what is triggering that. Because when you can do that, you can identify and start to deal with it and realize that, wow, this is inspiring something in me. Anger can inspire change. It can inspire action. And that is a good thing, right? If we see something happening in the world, we see something when we're out that makes us angry, it can inspire us to do something about it. And that is a good thing. It's what we do and how we do it that matters, right? Think about just the change, like the activists, things, political things that are happening. If there's things that you want to change and that make us angry about what we're seeing, there's many different positive ways to begin to inspire change, right? You can write letters, you can get a group of people together. There are things you can do in a positive way. So when anger can inspire change and lead us to take action in a positive way, that's a great thing. Part of the problem with anger and what happens with many, many people is that the anger gets stuffed down. It's not dealt with. And this happens, it can happen a lot over time. And when anger is not felt or not dealt with, it eventually is going to find a way out, right? It is going to come out in an explosive or a destructive way. And that type of anger, it's usually it's misplaced anger. Many of you may relate to possibly having a reaction to something and getting super angry, but when you look at the actual thing that triggered it, it really didn't deserve that type of response. And that's because of the buildup. this misplaced anger that is coming out. And many times that destructive and that explosive anger is destructive because it's hurting other people. It's hurting you for sure, but it's a lot of times it's directed at innocents, right? Those who aren't deserving of that type of anger. And unfortunately, that is not creating a high vibration. That is not helping you. It is really creating more of what you don't want in your life when you are seeing this pattern. So it's important that we bring awareness to the pattern in our life. We take a look at how anger shows up. Because for many people, anger, you can be in a situation where you can get angry very quickly. There are people that you can go from 0 to 60, so to speak, and just go into like what I call the red zone, where you just lose yourself. You're not seeing anything but that anger, and which leads to doing things and saying things that are completely out of character, that you would not normally do or say. People will talk, you throw things, you use language that you would normally not use, and say really hurtful things. And many times it is to those that you love most, because for whatever reason, right, people will feel safer among those who they love the most. It's almost like you have a permission to attack because these people who love you the most aren't going to leave you, which of course isn't always true, right? They do leave. And over time, with enough of that abuse, because it is abuse, those relationships will suffer greatly. So it's important to look at the behavior. How does anger manifest itself in your life? And is it destructive? You're going to know if it's destructive. You're going to know because it's going to lead, usually, to feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, feelings of saying to yourself, why did I do that? You beat yourself up. You can actually get angry with yourself all over again for getting that angry. And feelings of guilt and shame carry some of the lowest vibrations when we look at emotions. So when you're carrying not just the anger, you're also carrying now the guilt and the shame that comes from the embarrassment, the feeling of the fact that you shouldn't have acted that way. And everything you're saying to yourself, you're now carrying that in your field, which is serving to lower your vibration even more. And so you may even experience, which is interesting, and I'll say this, there's so much, I'm just hearing so much, there's so much to talk about with this subject that we're not gonna be able to talk about everything today. But the other thing I'm hearing is that when there's explosive and destructive anger that comes out, you can actually feel a sense of relief immediately afterward. It can actually feel like you feel better. Of course, the destruction that you've left, that's been left in the wake of that, other people that have been hurt, they can be devastated, but you in that moment can actually feel better. And that's because of this release. You've had this release that has happened. But then soon after the release and enough of this pattern, you do realize, hopefully, right, what has happened and that it is not a good thing, but which then triggers those feelings of guilt and shame within you. So it's a vicious cycle. And it is something that I have experienced personally in my life. I know exactly what it is to go through this. It is exhausting. It is draining. And it puts you on this roller coaster, vibrational roller coaster, that does not serve you. And we are here to live life in joy and in peace. And I can tell you, as someone who has now on the other side of that roller coaster, not that I don't get angry, I still get angry. And like I said, anger is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's how we respond and what we do with the anger. But I can tell you that living in that way where anger takes over and it creates something in you that you don't recognize, you don't have to live like that. You don't have to live like that. You don't have to do it for another minute. And what you need to know is that all it takes is for you to decide to break the cycle and to say to yourself, enough is enough. I'm done. I'm not going to continue like this in my life. Why? Because you don't have to. You don't have to. And it's about deciding to do what you need to do to heal. Because please understand that under this anger is anger, but underneath it, there's pain. There's pain, there's fear, there's embarrassment, there's abuse. There are emotional pains and hurts that need to be healed. That is what's underneath it, right? People will call anger a cover emotion, right? Again, because there's so much more underneath it. So when you decide that enough is enough, because that's what it takes, right? We have to say, no more, no more. We then decide to heal. We decide to take the steps that we need to take to uncover and heal what's underneath the anger. And here's the beautiful thing. It can all heal. It can all heal. And you can move through it, and you can get to a place where you can feel anger, but you don't have to have the explosion or the destructiveness come from feeling that anger. You can get to a place where you can feel all the range of emotions and you are able to respond instead of react. It is possible. Hi, Mary Rose. She says, she has a comment, so I'm going to read it. She says, yes, we are here to live in joy. This is a great subject. Thank you for talking about this. Great message. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Mary Rose. It really is a great subject because I think that, and this is what makes so much sense. There's a lot of shame around anger, and there's a lot of guilt around anger. I know myself that when I experienced getting into that red zone and I became just a different person, that's not something I wanted to tell people about. That's not something I wanted to talk about. I didn't want people to know that could be me, that I could do the things that I did or say the things that I said. And I think that so many of you can relate. It's not an easy thing, but it's okay. I want you to know you're not alone. I work with my clients. I see it. I've experienced it myself. You're not alone. And this is a safe place where we can talk about it and we can understand that this is something that we can heal. This is something that you have the power to move through. You don't have to fear because you have an amazing support system. Your beautiful, divine, spiritual guidance team that is around you, your connection to God's source, the creator, it is there and it is ready. You are connected and you can move through it. Again, it's just about you deciding enough is enough. Enough is enough, and I'm ready to heal. So reach out to me, send me a private message. We will schedule a time to talk and see if we're a good fit to work together, and we can get you started because you don't have to continue. I am so glad that we are getting to talk about this. If you have questions about this topic or you want a little more information about it, just go ahead and write your questions here or post the comments on the video and I will respond. I want you all to know I love you. Thank you for being in this group, for bringing in your light, and for helping me to raise the vibration of the planet. Much love to all of you.